Howdy there, friends and neighbors. Today I kind of wanted to take a break from everything and just talk about something that, I don't know, interests me or worries me. So we are very close to the release of Transformers: The Last Knight, the newest in the Bayformers series and apparently the last Michael Bay directed Transformers flick, and before the Bumblebee spin-off film comes out next year. Now Paramount Pictures hasn't had the greatest year this year, and they really need Transformers: The Last Knight to really pull in the cash like other entries in the franchise have. I don't want to see Paramount Pictures go under because of one bad year. I mean, guaranteed they probably wouldn't, but still, they need a win. And there's no doubt in my mind that Transformers: The Last Knight is probably going to make a good chunk of money. But the one thing I'm worried about with Transformers: The Last Knight is, well, where the hell they're taking the franchise. I was one of the very many people that was upset with Transformers 4 Extinction, especially with, you know, the teasing of all them Dinobots and they were barely in the movie, but whatever. And this one's taking on a bit of a medieval feel to it, so I don't fucking know. And then the whole thing with Nemesis Prime, I mean, is it Dark Energon, or did he just, you know, flip the switch good to evil? I don't know what's going on. I don't know why Megatron is back, because he was technically Galvatron in the last movie. Does he have a mushroom flashback? Does he remember that he's Megatron, not Galvatron? Or I don't fucking know what's going on with this franchise. As much as I know that this movie is probably gonna make a truckload of money, I kinda want it to fail. I know that's a very malicious and not very nice thing to say, but I feel like if Transformers: The Last Knight was to fail at the box office, we could be getting closer to getting a good Transformers movie. Now, I haven't seen Last Knight. I don't know anybody that really has, and for all we know, it could be a really great movie, but Michael Bay, I don't know.
Would you like to beg for your life?
So, figuratively speaking, what if Transformers: The Last Knight fails? What if Paramount cancels the entire Transformers verse, or whatever the fuck they're doing, and they kind of go back to step one? What happens then? Well, myself personally, if I was in the presence of Paramount Picture CEOs and such, I would recommend doing a trilogy. A trilogy based off of Autocracy, Monstrosity, and Primacy. These books right here. I still gotta get Primacy, but these are some of the best Transformers stories I have ever read. Autocracy being my favorite because it shows Optimus Prime before he was Optimus Prime, back when he was Orion Pax. And it really digs in deep to the governmental issues of Cybertron and the crookedness of their government, their politics, and essentially their law enforcement. And it actually shows the Decepticons as peace-loving rebels, and then it takes a major spin, a spin that we're all very used to. Now, I'm not going to say any more about what goes down in this trilogy. It essentially tells the Cybertronian story. Fall of Cybertron, War of Cybertron, Escaping Cybertron, Cybertron the Cybertron, and just the way that these books were written and the way that they fit so well together and the way that they delve into the Transformers universe, I definitely think these things would make great fucking cinematic movies. I mean, apparently we're gonna get 3 animated films about Transformers on Cybertron, apparently. I don't know how true that is. I don't really know too much about that, but if we're getting those, I'd be very excited to see those, and I'd see those opening night and be overly excited, even though I'm going to see Transformers: The Last Knight opening night, and, you know, I'm kind of part of the problem, but I'm not paying for that ticket. I'm getting them for free, boy. But anyway, Transformers, Autocracy, Monstrosity, and Primacy, I feel would make some really great Transformers movies. You know, in the Bayformers flicks, we've gotten sexual innuendos, we've got really bad jokes overall from Transformers to humans, we've gotten one-dimensional characters that are in the movie because they're hot. And, you know, it's very few and far between with the Bayformers flicks. You know, it started off pretty good, and then they just slowly kind of got worse and worse. But, you know, I always go into a Transformers film hoping for the best. I think we just found a Transformer, Marky Markimus Prime. I really would like to see the Autocracy trilogy made into live-action flicks, because it eliminates the human side of the story and just solely focuses on Transformers. And I feel like it would really help familiarize people who aren't, like, you know, deep into the Transformers franchise with certain Autobots and Decepticons and why they are the way they are. Before Optimus becomes Optimus, he's not as Optimus-y as he normally is. Like, when you see him as Orion Pax, as a cop and everything, you see him in a whole new light, and you kind of understand why he is the way he is with all of that. And I find that interesting. Same goes for Megatron and the Decepticons being the rebels against the Autobots, which were considered the twisted, dirty politicians. It's a crazy good set of stories, and I highly highly suggest checking them out. Again, I think that would be the best route to go if they were to ever reboot the Transformers franchise. Granted, you don't have to put everything in the books into the movie, but I do think that it would be a good way to really rebrand and show audiences everywhere that this series can be smart, it can be good, it can have great story, it can have even better characters. Because let's face it, Bay's Transformers movies have been here nor there in both of those segments. So, if Transformers were to be rebooted, what would you like to see them do with the live-action franchizzle? Would you like to see Transformers Energon, Transformers Prime, Transformers Armada, Beast Wars even? Comment below and tell me a bunch of stuff. I actually would really like to see a Beast Wars movie. Even if it was just treated as a side series to be released like maybe a year or two before the next in the major franchise comes out. I think that'd be cool. Tie them together, make them look all nice, get some, you know, stuff in there. Frank Welker, some Peter Cullen and everything, and yeah. But anyway, I have been Just Rob of Crazy Calyx. I hope you enjoyed this short little video of me just, you know, talking about Transformers. I know I really haven't talked about Transformers all too much since this channel began. Of course, Transformers isn't as big to me as like Godzilla is, obviously. But I really do love Transformers, and they were a huge, huge part of my childhood. I've got to find all my Armada stuff and put that on display because, oh man, I have so much. June 20th is going to be one interesting night. That is for sure.